Welcome, everybody. Episode 3 of the Roll Stable podcast. Before we get going, just want to say thank you to everyone who's checked out the first 2 episodes. The outreach and support the last couple of weeks after the release of those have been absolutely incredible. Thank you once again to those who have watched and listened. If you haven't yet, episode 1 and 2 videos are available on ucmathletics.com, UCM Athletics mobile app, and on YouTube. Audio from both episodes is also available on SoundCloud and Spotify. Today on the podcast, I'm very excited about our guest. I think you will be too. I'll bring him on soon, but first, here's a look at what's going on around UCM. Mules Baseball announced the hiring of former pitcher Ethan Westfall as a new assistant coach. Westfall pitched for the Mules in 2016, leading them to an NCAA Division II World Series appearance. He pitched professionally for 3 seasons in the Colorado Rockies organization before transitioning into coaching. The MIAA CEO Council met recently to discuss items related to both fall and winter sports. While the league does intend to offer shortened seasons in volleyball and soccer in the spring, a formal structure has not yet been put in place. For football, it was decided that teams will be permitted up to 4 joint practices, scrimmages, or games with outside competition in the spring. Meanwhile, for the remainder of this fall, football and cross-country teams can pursue limited independent schedules, which are non-conference contests permitted per NCAA regulations. As of this recording, which, by the way, a little behind the scenes, we record about 10 days before we put this out, so a lot can change in between that time. So as of recording this, women's and men's basketball is set to start as scheduled with practice on October 15th and the first games beginning November 18th and 19th. Mules and Jenny's first game is scheduled for November 21st. And that brings us to today's guest. He's got a vested interest in what's going on both this fall and winter. He might already be one of the best dual sport athletes in Mules history, and I know for sure he's already one of the best wide receivers the school has ever seen. From Omaha, Nebraska, Shae Wyatt.
It's a nice pleasure to be here, man.
Shae, man, thanks a lot for coming on. We just had picture day yesterday for football. A lot of good attendance numbers there. I know you just started practice last week. What's kind of the last week or so been like for you?
It's been like fall camp. You know, we've just been a lot of film study, a lot of practicing, just going over the basics of, you know, just the stuff that we really need to hammer down. Like, we're getting ready for our first game of the season. Like I said, we're just going back to the basics, and, you know, like you said, the attendance is great. You know, we're having a lot of people come, and a lot of our workouts are voluntary right now. So, like I said, those people are coming up, and, you know, we're getting ready for a season almost.
And so I'm guessing right now you're not quite in pads or anything. Where are you guys at kind of conditioning-wise? What's going to progress, and how are things going to go throughout the fall?
We actually are in pads. We started last week on Tuesday. We went into shells. But with conditioning, we condition after every workout that we have. So we're on a pretty good schedule right now. TD, our strength coach, he's getting our bodies right. He's, you know, what he's doing is fairly smart, preparing for what we're coming into this upcoming fall and whatnot. So we'll lift, 3 days out of the week, and then we'll condition after practice and whatnot as well.
Cool. And how about you personally? How are you feeling? What are some things that you did kind of over that long summer and into that fall?
Yeah. So this summer, I have a pretty simple routine. I work out about 6 days out of the week, and that just comes with preparation. So over the summer, I really hammered down building up my leg strength, and heading into this year, I had talked to TD, and I had talked to the receivers coach at the time. Just working on basic stuff, and coming into this year, my numbers have gotten a lot bigger and whatnot. So I have gotten stronger and a little bit heavier, which is good. Heading into this football season, but COVID kind of set us back or whatnot. So just taking this year just to get better and surround people around me to get better as well.
And with COVID, you were obviously here when things got kind of shut down in the spring. What were your thoughts way back when this started in March, and how have they changed throughout the months?
Personally, I didn't think it'd last this long. When it happened in the spring, and it was great because I believe, if you can check me if I'm wrong, but we got back from spring break, and maybe it was like a few weeks after school canceled or whatever. So at the time, I was pretty geeked. Didn't have to go to class or anything, but Looking forward, throughout the whole summer, I thought, school would be back in session as it is, and then, like fall sports would be progressing and whatnot. But, COVID came by and just took us by surprise, honestly.
When did that kind of reality set in that, wow, we might not actually have a fall football season?
Yeah, so it was probably mid-July, because usually during the summer we're not required to be here on campus, but it is a requirement for our football team or whatever. So when we started getting word that there might not be a season, you started to peep, like not a lot of people were coming. There was a little bit of confusion as to what was going to happen within and what was going to happen in August. So at that point, I was kind of just waiting on the word like everybody else. And I think it was like mid-July. I was just kind of like, man, we really might not have a season this upcoming year.
And you're in definitely a different type of situation with basketball and football. So basketball practice is supposed to start October 15th. You're already in, football practice. What are kind of your thoughts on the two practices? I think it's going to be different for you since football is not really going to be in season and basketball is going to, be starting theirs.
Yep. So it's kind of a sticky situation right now, because if we were in season, obviously I'd be playing football right now and focusing on that. So, basketball starts up in this next couple weeks. The way I see it is, we just got our new offensive coordinator. It's nice to be back with the guys and, just getting the chemistry down with all of my teammates and whatnot. So I'm taking it one step at a time. But once basketball gets to rolling and they start practicing and, getting back in the grooves of things, I'll end up, slowly and progressively, transitioning from sport to sport.
But you think you'll pretty much be primarily at almost every basketball practice?
Yeah, it's looking that way so far. Yeah, just considering we really won't be doing much for football within the next couple months.
Right,
I feel like.
So your priorities kind of change a little bit there. You mentioned your new offensive coordinator, Luter. What's it been like working with him?
Very energetic, young. He's got a great character. He's came in and, he took it by the horns. I have nothing but good words for him, and I think with our upcoming season, he fits our model pretty well. Like I said, he's young, so it's very easy to connect with him. And I will say he's from Nebraska as well, so the college that he had coached at before is like maybe 15, 20 minutes away from my house, so I'm pretty familiar with where he's from and whatnot. But like I said, he came in and, everybody loves him. He hasn't shook off anybody, I don't think.
Little Cornhusker pride between the two of you?
Just a little bit.
Going back to last year and even a couple of years before that with under Coach McMenamin and Brooke Bowles here, what are some things that really was working for you, especially last year going to the playoffs?
Okay. So Coach Mack and Brooke, I'd say the biggest thing that they brought or that I saw from them was their leadership mentality. Whether it was a rainy day, sunny day, gloomy day, it didn't matter. They brought the same energy and they always wanted to work. So I'd say, with Coach Mack and Coach McMenamin, they kind of they set the groundwork for, the people that are coming up and even the people that are after me, So every time I go out to practice, I just think about, when I was a freshman, just observing, just looking and whatnot. And it was always those two that just working and just always trying to get better each day.
So going back to your freshman year, that was 2017, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
So you had Jalen Zachary, Kerion Parker were both here, and you were redshirt and you didn't play that year. Like you said, you were just kind of observing. What are some things that you took from the two of them?
Yeah. So Jay-Z and KP, man, they were, I was very fortunate to sit behind them and just, like I said, observe. What I picked up the most from them was just being an athlete and just being comfortable in your body, playing wide receiver, you have, these attributes that are different from everybody else. So, seeing Jay-Z, how he ran a certain route, and seeing KP, how he ran a certain route, it kind of gave me the idea of what I could do and mix it up. So, just being able to just sit down and, even being in film study and just to pick their brains just to see like, oh, what coverage do you see here? Or, what are you thinking about running this dig that's 15 yards, or would you push it even more? Just picking their brains and just getting that football knowledge really helped me, I believe.
How do you think that your kind of style fits in with those two? I think you're kind of, personally, I think you're kind of a nice mold between the two of them. KP obviously had that great size and leaping ability. Jay-Z was just as fast as anybody and a great route runner. How do you think that you compare with those guys?
Yeah, so yeah, like you said, Jay-Z was a good route runner, phenomenal hands as well. Both of them had phenomenal hands. I'd say I'm not more on the speed spectrum, I would say. I don't think I'm running a 4.3 at the combine or anything, but I'd say I really do like running my routes, and I really like being precise with them. So I'd say, just like going back to it, just watching those guys, how they, marked their landmarks and just peeped where the corners were and whatnot, just kind of helped me realize that I'm not the guy that's going to blow by you all the time, but I'm also the type of guy that could sit down a route and, just find the open space and just get open.
So going into 2019, it's your third year in the program. You just have sophomore eligibility. You only played 1 year. But you were kind of the leader in that wide receivers room, am I right? Because it was kind of a young group.
Yeah.
You had Drew Slager, who just came in for his first year, and Ryan Flournoy was there. Cam Saunders was pretty young. Talk about your kind of role as a leader in that room.
Yeah, so actually last year I didn't this little insight, like I didn't really think I'd be much of a leader that year because we had a lot of seniors and, older guys. So it was a little bit weird going into the season because
seniors kind of at like other positions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, seniors at the other positions. So it was kind of weird, obviously receivers, we have our groups, we have our own little vibe or whatever. But heading into that season, I remember just having a talk with Boda and whatnot, and he just kind of said you got to step into your destiny at some point. And I think Fort Hays, that first game was probably the eye-opener for me, where it was just, you can't really shy away from, what's meant to be, So becoming a leader, I don't think it's necessarily like taking those steps. Sometimes it just falls in your lap, and you just kind of have to, just handle it the way you handle it. So.
And what are some of your better attributes as a leader? How do you see your leadership style?
Yeah, so I'm not the type of person to yell at you or necessarily get on your neck all the time. I'd say I lead by example. I'll never skip a rep. I'm always, no matter what I'm doing, I'm going to go 100%. That's just the way that I was taught. So my biggest thing is I have a pair of younger brothers, so I always keep it in the back of my mind. So it's whatever you're doing, whether, you're being seen or even if you're just in your room, it's always something like what makes you better and what can, help other people be better as well.
How old are your brothers?
So I have 4. I have one that's I have one that's 20. I have another one that's 8. Another one that's 6, and then my youngest is 4.
What was it kind of like growing up in a house with that many brothers?
Yeah, chaotic. Just a lot of broken windows, vases, you name it. We probably broke it. A lot of we got grounded quite a bit, I'm not going to lie. But, just being with them just kind of helped me, keep my footing, what my why is pretty much.
Did you play a lot of different sports growing up? Was it strictly just basically football and basketball? Were there some others when you were younger?
So I tried baseball for a year. It must have been like 5th grade or something. The only reason why I played it was my dad was really big on it when he was younger, so he wanted to put me in it. But I was not a fan of the patience. I'd say I'm a patient person, but when it comes to sports and whatnot, I do not like waiting around and whatnot. So baseball was up and out.
They put you in the outfield, and then you just kind of got to wait for something to come to you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I was that kid that would just be out there just looking at the butterflies, the sky, seeing everything else besides the ball coming at me and whatnot. But I'd say probably that year was when I started really playing football. Basketball has always been, pivotal point in my life because my dad played it. So that was always one of the first loves of my life and whatnot. But football came second. And, ever since then, it's just been football and basketball. I've just been focusing on those.
That's definitely interesting, to me at least, that basketball was kind of your first love over football, but you said your dad played it. What was kind of like your recruiting process like? Were there, schools looking at you for both sports, for just one sport? What was that like?
So my junior year, it was pretty chaotic. I had moved back to Nebraska, and there was this AAU program called OSA, and that's what really kind of started up my basketball regimen. So I was getting looks from, the Summit League, MIAA, the GLC, like all those leagues and whatnot. And so, heading into the summer of my senior year, I had gotten an offer for football from South Dakota State. And once that happened, all the other basketball schools thought I wanted to play football. But at the time, I didn't know. I honestly didn't know whether if I wanted to play one or the other or both. And so, so I remember there were nights like I remember my senior year, this was constant. Like, I'd have a basketball game and wouldn't finish about 10, and then after that, I'd have to, go meet with coaches, like have a home visit. I remember, specifically, we played Burke at their place, didn't go home until about 10:30. I remember the Kearney coach was just waiting at my doorstep, and I still had to meet with him and whatnot.
Is this the Kearney football or basketball coach?
Kearney football coach, yep. So, it was just, at the time, it was a little bit stressful, but, looking back on it, I'm very grateful that it happened. Not a lot of people get the looks that, that I received and whatnot. So, like I said, I'm just grateful for the opportunity that I got and all the people that wanted me and believed in me at that time.
Now, were there some schools that were saying, hey, you come here and you could play both football and basketball?
Yeah, so Northwest actually was one of my main candidates. I wanted to play basketball with them. I don't know if you remember Justin Pitts.
Sure.
Yeah, Justin Pitts was a pretty big player, but they wanted me to play both, and it was kind of weird. It was kind of weird how I actually ended up at Central Missouri. Actually, I was sitting at Mo West, and one of my roommates, Jordan Flowers, he used to go here. He actually was good friends with Coach Mack and Coach Boda. He had already committed here, and I was still in the process of, just seeing my options, just weighing my options. Like I said, Northwest was at the top. I was going to go there. I was, getting ready to sign the NOI and all that. And then went on my last official visit to Mo West, and I remember sitting there. I was in the office with the head coach, and he was just giving me the rundown. He was just saying, like, I'm going to need a answer by in the morning, and, the rundown. And so I remember Jordan had called me and said, what are you doing? I was like, just chilling at Mo West. I'm on my official. He's like, well, what do you think about Central Missouri? At the time, I had met Coach Mack maybe once, and I didn't even know UCM was a school. I didn't know what a mule was. Didn't know Warrensburg was a town. So I was like, you know what? Like, why not? I don't have anything to lose. So literally, that Sunday morning when I left Mo West, I told the coach that I'm gonna keep my options open. I remember it was raining. My mom was pretty cranky. I couldn't remember. I think I might have made her mad or something. But she was pretty cranky. We got down here. Coach Mack with his bright smile. Coach Boda as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're down here, and they just showed me around. And at that point, I just fell in love with the campus. They didn't really have to show me that much. It was just more of a home feeling. Boda made sure to take me in as his own, and he has ever since. And like I said, I'm grateful for that. And I made that decision on that day, and I'm not looking back forward.
Wow, so you came here for the first time, and that day decided to commit?
I sure did, yeah.
Wow, that's a heck of a story, and definitely got to thank Jordan Flowers for bringing you in.
Yeah, boy J-Fo, man, he's probably the main reason why I'm here. If it wasn't for him, I don't know.
Yeah, I know a lot of Mules fans are definitely happy that that you came by. So you came to Central Missouri, and you weren't on the basketball team at first.
Mm-mm.
It took you, I think, 2 years before you got on. So what was and when, why, how kind of the change and decided to play both sports?
So actually, my freshman year, I got asked to play, but I sat down with Boda, and we had a nice conversation. He just wanted to make sure that my body was fit enough for the MIAA and how physical it is. Mm-hmm. So I said that's fair enough. And that upcoming year, my redshirt freshman year, was after that season that I really started considering it. So during that summer, I was in the gym. Back at home, there's this college called UNO, and me and my buddies, we'd go up there from about noon till about 4, about every day in the summer. We were just hooping. I remember sitting there just talking with them. They're like, man, like, you really could play right now. And, it just kind of dawned on me. I was like, why not? So I had a lot of conversations with my mom and my dad. As you know, like, after the 2019 season, we went deep into the playoffs. So, like, I had to consider that as well. But at the end of the day, like I said, basketball was my first love. I love being around it. I love the sound of the ball, the sound that it makes when it goes to the net. So it was fairly easy to make the decision. I met with Coach K. I just asked him, I said, hey, can I come to one of your open gyms? And, if I'm not good enough, you just let me know. Sure. And, it just ended up falling through, and I'm grateful enough that his coaching staff and himself gave me the opportunity to play. And, like I said, they just believed in me and just grateful for it.
You know, I think it's funny what you said earlier, that comparing yourself to Jay-Z, that you're not the speedster that he is.
Yeah.
And on the football field, you kind of see that, you know, but you're definitely a precise route runner, and that's kind of how you separate from defensive backs. But as soon as you stepped on the basketball court for that first game that I saw, you know, I was talking with Greg Hassler, and just immediately we saw the explosiveness that you had, and you brought just a whole different energy to the basketball team.
No, and I appreciate that. It's just, you know, second nature, I feel like, when I'm on the court. Like I said, from football to basketball, there's a different rhythm to the game. So necessarily, you know, you're moving back and forth, you know, straight and forward in football, I feel like. But basketball is more lateral, you know. So I think I have an edge on that when it's on the court, but you also have a couple more pads on when you're playing football. It might slow you down a little.
Yeah, I think there's a difference, you know, between speed and quickness.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you have that quickness kind of nailed down.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say so. But, yeah, the speed part, I'm not running away from nobody. I'll end up getting hawked. They know that.
Now, in collegiate athletics, you know, the administration side, we have this thing called crossover season. It's kind of when fall and winter are both going at the same time, or winter and spring. What are some of the challenges for you during a crossover season when football and basketball are both going at once?
Yeah, so probably one of the hardest things is I'd have to say the meetings. You know, just learning new plays and new terminology. I'm a very hands-on learner, so I know last year, like, you know, we played Indy late into the season, and, you know, basketball had pretty much already started, already practicing. So when I came in, you know, learning the terminology was pretty hard, but, you know, at the end of the day, you'll end up catching up to it. And, you know, like, you know, just having my teammates being there, you know, just supporting me, that definitely helped a lot. So it just kind of took a lot off of me, you know, just knowing that they understand what I'm going through and that it'll be all right in the long run.
You're obviously a very busy kid with playing 2 sports here. Do you get any free time? Are there any other activities you like to do when you get some time to just relax?
Yeah, so actually there's a lot more free time than you think, I feel like. So like if I'm not practicing or if I'm not, you know, in meetings or whatever, you'll typically see me at my place just chilling with my dog. I like to play video games. I enjoy going on walks. I love to fish. I'll fish every now and then. And other than that, I've actually picked up cooking. I do enjoy cooking. That's pretty fun. But other than that, I'm pretty much a homebody. I don't really leave my house that much. Yeah, I'm pretty boring.
All right, Chef Wyatt over here. What's your signature dish to beat Bobby Flay in?
I'm a big soul food guy. I grew up on that from the South, you know, so I really enjoy my pork chops, mac and cheese, you know, rice with sugar, which... Have you ever heard of that? Rice and sugar?
No, I haven't.
No, you haven't? Yeah.
Is that Southern Creole type thing?
I don't know. My Nana had made it for me a couple of times, and I was like, man, this is good. You know, it's like a little snack or whatever. But my roommates think it's a little off. But, I mean, for all you people listening out there, just give it a try sometime. Some jasmine rice and some sugar. That's the go-to. But, yeah, mac and cheese, baked potatoes. You know, all of that.
Big comfort food guy.
Yeah, I love it. I love the food that sticks to the ribs, you know.
And what about kind of when you're done here? We were talking off air. You got plans to get your degree this coming spring. You have another year of eligibility in football. You know, what are you kind of thinking for 2-3 years down the road? Yeah,
so I'm definitely gonna try and pursue my dreams and play football as long as I can. You know, as it'll persist. You know, with that comes you have to be patient. So right now, you know, we don't have a season and whatnot. So it's a little funky right now, but you know, it's in God's hands, and I believe, you know, it'll work out. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna get my degree. My career goal is to become a psychiatrist in the long run. So I'm gonna be in school for quite a bit, anyways. But you know, in the spring, once I'll have my degree, you know, I'm gonna try and enter the master's program and just go from there.
What's it been like having Zach Davidson around? I know he's been getting some scouts and some looks at the NFL.
Oh, man.
You've been talking with him a lot?
Yeah, so me and Zach, we're pretty good buddies. You know, just like I said, it's the same thing with Brooke and Coach Mack. He provides that leadership factor, you know, that I can look up to. You like I said, that's a tremendous person, just to talk to, just to speak to. He's given me great insight and whatnot. So, with him and his opportunity to go to the league and whatnot, it's, giving me insight as well. Zach has, the world in his hands right now, and, I think he has a tremendous shot at going to the league and whatnot. So with having the scouts coming in, that not only does that help him, but it helps, the other guys that are around him as well.
Yeah, and I think we're starting to see a lot more D2 guys making rosters and even playing games in the NFL. Probably best example, someone that played the same position as you, Adam Thielen of the Minnesota Vikings, played Division II at Minnesota State.
Yeah.
So what do you kind of think when you see all these Division II guys going to the next level?
It just really shows you that no matter where you're at and, no matter, who you are, if you can play, they'll find you necessarily. And like you had mentioned Adam Thielen, like he literally went up to Mankato and was on a $500 scholarship. So, he wasn't even like a top prospect, but, he kept going at it. He found an organization that believed in him, and, he took his shot. He betted on himself, and, with seeing all these D2 guys in the league, it just gives you a sense of, gives myself a sense of hope almost, and, a sense of determination that, like I can play here or I belong here and whatnot. So.
And you see someone and it's like, wow, they're putting in this work to get there. If I do that, maybe I can kind of do the same thing.
Yeah.
What are some things, speaking of work, that maybe you think you need to work on to get to that next level?
I'd say definitely my speed. Like I said, I'm not that tall, so you got to work on that because I'd probably play the slot if I ever made it to the league and whatnot. And then blocking's definitely a big thing. You can never outwork that. Let's see. And I'd say, just player recognition. Last year, our coaches set us up tremendously because, they gave us packets and, gave us the rundown of what we need to know. But at the same token, there's that accountability factor that, you got to know, like, which corner's going to do this or, what corner's going to do that. And, the linebackers and the safeties, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you don't necessarily see within that 2 to 3 seconds that happens.
Sure, a lot of
play.
things that happen before the snap.
Yep. So I think, just staying in film study and just constantly just keeping my head down, eventually I'll get there.
Is there anybody in football or in basketball that you like watching that you kind of maybe model your game after?
So yeah, I grew up. I didn't watch a lot of sports growing up, actually. I was a big cartoon guy. So when I did watch sports, it was, just recaps of Reggie Miller, actually. Okay. I was a big Reggie Miller fan, and mainly that was because the dude wasn't afraid to take a shot, He always had that mentality that if he had the ball or, if he's in the game, he's going to be a threat. So what I learned from him was, no matter what you're doing, whether it's, classwork, you got a test, or, even if it's just practice, you should, have that mentality that, like I said, that you're a threat and that you can, do something with yourself,
What about football? Any receivers or anything you like watching?
Yeah, so football. Like I said, I didn't watch a lot of sports, but recently, because now that I'm starting to understand like what's a release or like what coverages are happening, I really do enjoy watching wide receivers on their routes and being covered by DBs. So I've been peeping. I really like Keenan Allen, obviously Julio Jones. Let's see, Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas is probably one of the ones that I peeped the most, just because, like I said, honestly, if I had to compare myself to anybody, it's probably Michael Thomas because Michael Thomas isn't, a straight 4-3 guy. He's going to break you down. He's a physical receiver, and he runs really good routes. So, just watching those guys work and just trying to, implement certain things that I can add to my game as well. Oh, another one, Devonte Adams. I really like Devonte Adams. He's something special as well.
And you said you think your future might be as a slot receiver. Any particular slot receiver you like watching?
Yeah, like I said, Devonte Adams, mainly because his releases are pretty. They're not too special and they're not too dull. They're straight and forward. So when I'm looking at a DB or when I'm getting ready to, run my route or whatever, I always think of, not necessarily what would Devonte do, but, just something that I could pick up from him if a DB's playing the same way they played him and if they're playing me.
And they have all these new technologies and new cameras where you can kind of see the entire field and every player and what they're doing. Do you have anything like that you can study up either NFL guys or maybe even on your own team watching your own film?
Yeah, so no, I don't have any of the gadgets that they have in the league, but as you know, we have Huddle, which that provides that provides great feedback, honestly, especially after practice. So just going in and watching the different angles and the different variations of defenses, that definitely helps. Just being able to watch yourself and being able to critique yourself as well.
All right, so since you got here, Mules Football won a bowl game in 2017, dealt with just a whole bunch of injuries in 2018. We won't even talk about that.
Yeah.
2019, went to the playoffs, won a playoff game. What are the expectations for the next season, whenever that is, with a lot of returning starters?
Yeah, so we want to pick off where the ball dropped, I think Coach Boda had mentioned that we have 18 starters that are supposedly supposed to be coming back. So, we have the team leadership and we have that factor. But, going into the next season, it shouldn't dawn on us that it's a new season. We should continue to – I think we all have the same mindset that we are the conference champions. We want to be better. We obviously, with Ferris knocking us out, that's something that's – steadily talked about in our locker room, So I think leading into the next season, not only are we thinking about, obviously the first game, the second game, because you got to take it one game at a time, but we're also thinking long-term, what we want to do in the playoffs and how we get there as well. So, and it's all leading up to it right now.
So it's kind of the expectations around the whole Mules football team has changed in the last couple of years, where it was, we have a good year, maybe we can make the playoffs. Now it's like, this is what we're going to do when we get to the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. And that just comes with, just practicing and just, believing in the guy that's next to you, honestly. I think last year we probably had one of the best team chemistry that I've ever been a part of. And that's genuine love, from everybody else, wanting to see you do better and, you wanting to see other people do better as well.
And has that kind of carried over?
Oh, yeah.
Practice, at least for now?
Oh, yeah, it definitely has. Like I said, we have a lot of starters that come back, so that mentality has not changed, and we're a model for the people that are coming after us, and I'm hoping that it sticks and it continues.
All right, well, Shae, man, it's been great having you on and being able to pick your brain a little bit. Hopefully, we get to see you either on the football field or the basketball court real soon. Where can some people follow you at?
Yeah, so I actually don't have social media.
Okay.
So I mean, if you see me on campus, I'm not shy. Just say what's up to me, and like I said, it's been a pleasure being here, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. I want to thank our listeners again. Of course, Shae, my producer, Tony Manzo. Keep up with UCM Athletics online and on social media for all your news and information. This has been another episode of the Roll Stable Podcast.